Good afternoon and welcome to CalTv. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jim Caselli. On today's show, we have an interview with the new Chief Deputy Director of Fiscal, and we also have an AP WorkCenter demo. So let's get started with a conversation I had recently with Jenny Maguire, the new Chief Deputy Director here at Fiscal.
Jenny, welcome to Fiscal TV. Thanks so much for joining us today and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you, Jim. I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak with you.
All right, let's get started with your state background. Tell us about your state experience prior to Fiscal.
Well, I started state service in October of '96. Yes, in the 19s, as my kids would say. I had graduated from college earlier that spring and at the time was applying for SSA positions, but there was a hiring freeze put on that classification. So my parents, both being state workers, encouraged me to just get my foot in the door. So I started applying for office assistant positions and was eventually picked up by the Department of General Services. Looking back, I think I was, pretty fortunate to work with a group of intelligent and hardworking individuals who really just had a tremendous influence on my growth and work behavior. I was very motivated to learn and to promote, and ultimately ended up serving in 5 classifications over 8 years at DGS. So to this day, I am thankful for the opportunity that I was afforded there. Eventually, one of my mentors at DGS landed at Department of Justice and encouraged a handful of us to apply there. They had multiple vacancies in their budget office. So doing so, I spent 8 years at DOJ, getting my supervisory experience, learning more about, the contract procurement and HR process before coming to Fiscal. What I loved about DJ was their program areas. I learned so much about law enforcement and the law in general. More specifically, what type of work the state special agents perform and how the state's deputy attorney general prosecutes cases on behalf of the state. Truly amazing work that has such a significant public and state impact.
Yeah, that sounds like one great experience. And I know you've been with Fiscal for more than 9 years. Can you share your Fiscal history with us?
Sure. I came to Fiscal in December of 2012. When I took this job, we had just separated ourselves from the Department of Finance, and we had maybe 130 or so employees. Because we were under the umbrella of finance, we were utilizing, their department's policies and procedures. We were budgeting at a very high department level, and none of our divisions even had established their own budgets yet. Within, I'd say, my first 6 months, we had, established over 100 departmental policies and procedures of our own. We had created a budget structure by division and started doing spending plans and projections. Huge for administration work, I'd say. I think that was probably my biggest challenge in my first year at Fiscal, just really getting established. Again, this was almost 10 years ago, so government activity itself has since changed dramatically in service areas, including the talent workforce and just its regulation and operations. Today, we have over 350 authorized positions and over 150 policies and procedures, and we continue to develop new programs and participate in new ways of just doing business. By necessity, over the past 2 years, Fiscal's response to the pandemic resulted in just rapid change, generally not seen in the public sector. We're innovative in ways that others aren't, whether it's adapting to, virtual environments, participating in programs like diversity and inclusion, or automating just our traditional manual processes in the world. Processes in the areas of administration. We just continue to accelerate our involvement at a pretty impressive pace.
That's a lot to deal with. I know just for myself, transitioning from the office to home it took a little while to get used to, but I can't imagine dealing with so much more there. That's a lot. And when you started, as you said, Fiscal was a project. Now it's a department. Tell us about the difference between the two and what that means for your position.
I love talking about this. I mentioned earlier that when I started at Fiscal back in 2012, we had, just left our nest at the Department of Finance. We had our own departmental code and statute, if you will, and our name back then was the Fiscal Project. Our titles were very different. Instead of a traditional director, we had an executive partner, and instead of a traditional chief deputy director, we had a project director. We were all things project, lots of project names, lots of project assignments, project lingo, you name it. As we continue doing our work of designing, developing, and deploying the Fiscal system, the functionality that we deployed became part of our maintenance and operations. With that, back in 2016, we got a new executive partner who was very forward-thinking and said, we're on our path to one day fully developing the Fiscal solution. So she wanted to change our name from the Fiscal Project to the Department of Fiscal. With doing that, she also changed her title from executive partner to director and sort of gave the project director a dual title of project director / chief deputy. What that means is really she was able to focus more of the department's future workload, provide status reports on anything that was already in maintenance and operation, while our project director was still able to focus on the remaining project work and assisting her with M&O work as needed. So today we consider the project virtually complete. All of our technical design and build is deployed. And when I was hired as the chief deputy director, we dropped the project director title as such. So my job will now be more of the traditional chief deputy director work, focusing on day-to-day operations. I am thrilled and excited in this new endeavor to work with all three of our divisions, really focusing on the vision and strategic goals of our department.
That's great. And I know that being an RC, customer relations is pretty high on that list, and we're all really looking forward to seeing that put into place more than ever. And again, congratulations on your position, and everyone I know wishes you the best of luck. And thanks again for joining us today.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And once again, thanks to Jenny Maguire for being with us here today on Fiscal TV. Now it's time for an AP WorkCenter demo with Daxa Patel. I would also like to let you know that there is a link in our Q&A box, and yes, there it is. I'm looking at it right now, so I know it's there. There is a link in our Q&A box to a job aid demo that Daxa recorded earlier this week. Now, here's Daxa.
Once they log into the system, user will see the multiple tiles. User will have to click on the My WorkCenter tile to open the AP Accounts Payable WorkCenter. Again, this is based on the user security. They will see the multiple WorkCenter. Click into the Accounts Payable WorkCenter. It will open up the landing page. Again, this is based on the user security. User will see the options here on the left hand side section. As you see here, it is default to the current fiscal year as we discussed, and the business unit default to the based on the user security. On the voucher errors by count will display in here, and if you take your cursor, it will tell you how many vouchers are sitting with the recycle error. As you see here, currently for this BU, only one recycle one voucher with the recycle error. Match exception has a 30 vouchers are sitting with the match exceptions. Pending approval. As you see here, currently for this BU, there are 507 vouchers are pending approval level 1. There are none for approval 2. There are some for state controller office waiting approval. It's 386. Let me share this. This is just the lower environment. So this is just showing the data. This value might be not really true when user log into the production system. It might be a less. So this system we are using only for demonstration purposes. Payment status. As for this particular fiscal year, total 22.56 thousand vouchers are fully paid for the department, and not paid value are showing is total 657. Number of vouchers in fiscal year. So as you see here, this breakdown by the period 1, 2, 3, 4 and so forth. As we go in opening the new period in the future, this graph will include that period as well. So let's navigate into the My Work sections. And as you see here, there are none vouchers available for prepayment. So this is grayed out. Unpaid voucher status, currently it's showing 22 vouchers. So let's select these options here. As you click in here, it will display the current fiscal year and the BU and the voucher with the detail. As we explained before, this count are maybe vary from the search, actual search, and the count are showing. That means there are other vouchers that might not exist for 2021. It might be coming from different fiscal year. If user would like to see all, user will have to clear search criteria and click search. And now as you see, all 22 vouchers are displayed here where user can see from which fiscal year vouchers are displayed here. By clicking in the hyperlink on voucher ID, user can view the detail of that search voucher. It opens up the new page where user can review the summary page, information page, and the payment page. Let's go back to the AP WorkCenter page. Going to on the voucher exception sections. Currently, it's showing the one vouchers count seating for recycle vouchers. Let's click here. On here, it's showing the vouchers are from December 25th, 21 invoice date. The voucher is sitting there with the incomplete status. That means user have created this search voucher and this voucher user saved with the incomplete status. This is kind of like a placeholder voucher that they have created, which they meant to use for when this voucher is ready for payment. So user will have to take the action to unlock this voucher from once it's open from hyperlink, and they can proceed further for this voucher. Going back to our AP WorkCenter page, let's review some matchings. So there are one to be matched, there are none. That's why it's grayed out. Match exception exists with the one voucher count it's showing. Again, all pages works the same. User can click on the voucher ID hyperlink to review a detail of this voucher. User can select any other, if there are more and it display only one, they have to clear this criteria and they can review all. Click going back to on the payment sections. So schedule payment and hold, it's showing 31 counts. And here it is not showing any by clicking here. So let's clear this value on fiscal year and search to see if it's matched the 31 vouchers. that are scheduled payment on hold. So again, user can select the voucher ID hyperlink to review the detail. On the search criteria, it will show the business unit voucher ID, type of the origin, and type of the voucher style, as you see here. Also, it displays the supplier ID name, invoice number, gross amount, remit supplier, and remit supplier short name. So to view the detail, same logic, user have to click on a voucher hyperlink to view the detail. Let's discuss about the supplier pending approval that's available under supplier section. So user click on this supplier pending approval. It will display what are the supplier that are still pending for an approval. In this page, there is no hyperlinks available. User can get to know which supplier ID is still pending approval. They will have to manually navigate to the supplier menu and search for this supplier if they wanted to view the detail. Let's take a look at some of the link sections options are available. Looking into the voucher, where we see here the regular entry page where user directly navigate to the regular entry page, and user can find in an existing value, or user can create a new voucher from this page by entering the required parameters and informations here and click add. It will open up the invoice information page tab where user can complete the voucher and save the voucher. On the review voucher information links available, which allow user to review the such vouchers or by origin or by date, from date or invoice date, and they can search the voucher on this page where they can able to see the vouchers detail as well. On the accounting entry section, it allows the department user to search for a particular voucher ID accounting entry that is generated or not, and they can able to see the GL distribution status as well as the posting date and the detail of the chart field value that are posted. By clicking in the journal options here, they can see the journal ID that generated and it posted to the GL. Let's take a look at the budget check. On this option, user can run the budget check process from this page by adding a new run control ID or search for existing run control ID. So if user have already created the run control ID, the page will display with the parameters are already selected. Based on the voucher they need to run the budget check, user will have to manually change the voucher ID and click run to complete the budget check process. On the other options, it allows users to review the purchase order inquiry. They can enter the PO ID or contract ID, purchase order date. The date criteria can be selected between from date to date, or they can review the purchase order that are currently exist with the dispatch status, which they can able to create the voucher if the invoices are received, and they can process the voucher further for payment. Let's take a look at some of the query. Under the query section, as we discussed before, there are the query exists with those 4 or 5 sections that we discussed, and it broken to the vouchers, payment, supplier, and DOF queries. Let's take a look at one of the queries here that are exist here. The query name will display here. This is a public query that department user normally run from by navigating to the reporting tools query viewer. By clicking in these options, it will directly take you to the a prompt page where user will have to enter their prompt based on the information they will need to search, and they click here, the view results. So let's take a look at, let's run one of the query just to see how the informations are displayed here. And I'm just randomly selecting the dates here, click view results, and it will display the results for the, oops, I'm sorry, it didn't show up anything. Let me modify the criteria for a little bit and see if we can get to some data in here. And for our demo, now queries is completed, and this is a normal message that display if our query have more data search which has some limitations. So it will display only the data within the limitations are allowed. So just click OK. So you know that this query is pulling more than what is allowed to display. If department user will need to get the all data for such date criteria, then the user will have to schedule the query that they will normally do it from the schedule query page, and it's dependent on the user security. So as you see here, all search results are displayed as here, and user can download to Excel or CSV text file as normal they do day-to-day basis. Let's take a look at some on the payment options. So those are the reports are available for detailed payment by report, late payment, annual report, and grant advance. So let's take a look at the grant advance query. This is also a public query exists. As usual, it's allow users to enter the prompts are available within this options. You see the asterisks by the field, those are required field. User will have to have those value entered. If user leaving such value out, it will not allow to run the query. So let's just take a look at, we'll try one of the options and see what user will see it. So if you click, user will get the message saying field is required. That means user will have to have some such date criteria to enter here and enter any additional criteria based on what they would like to search and proceed with running the query. Under the supplier options, it allows for open APPO transfer the vendor. On the DOF query, let's take a look at some of the DOF queries. So this is the DOF queries that a department user runs for encumbrances reclass summary. Again, same logic. The user will have to enter the parameters. Asterisks by the field, they are required field. They can leave this blank for all. They can leave this value blank, and they can view the search results. So all those DOF queries exist within these options. Let's take a look at the report and the processes here. So let's take a look at the CMIA AP voucher activity report. So under the report and processes, it depends on the user security. A user will able to see the report that they have access to run. So with this such user, they can able to run CMIA AP voucher activity report from these options. Again, the same, create new run control ID or search for existing run control ID. To add the new run control ID, user will have to click add new value, and user can give a name to their run control ID name. And run control ID name do not allow space. So user can give any name to their report run control ID. Click add, it'll prompt the parameters page on the run control page where you see the value are required, same as the query where it's the asterisk, and the dates and the user can select the fund or leave the fund blank. Once the values are entered here, user can save this to use this run control ID for their future report. User do not require to create new run control ID each time they will have to run their report. This run control ID can be used anytime. Department user will have to manually update the available parameters based on the value they would like to search for. Click run, process will run, and it complete. User can click into the process monitor options available to the section where they can see the process monitor and the run status. Run status should be success and distribution status should be posted. If any reason user found their report goes to no success status, we request user to open a ticket by sending a mail or by calling and Fiscal Services Center and provide the detail about the report parameter they have used, report name, and the process instance assigned to their such report. If possible, provide us the view trace log detail, which helps to identify what is the issue. We recommend the user do not to delete those no success run status. Once they hear from the such party, they are assigned to their ticket and they are trying to help to resolve the ticket, the issue. Then user can come here and they can delete the no success run status. We suggest do not kick off any new report until we hear from the person who assigned to your ticket. Once the report is completed, user can click here on the report manager hyperlink, or user can click option available here on the report manager and click onto the administrator page where they can see the report output. Once they see the report output, they can click onto the option for the file is available to open the report output. This concludes the Accounts Payable WorkCenter demonstration.
Thanks very much for that demo, Daxa. If you have any questions regarding the AP WorkCenter demo that you just saw, please contact your relations coordinator and they will make sure that you get an answer in a timely manner. And that's our show for today. Special thanks again to Jenny Maguire and Daxa Patel for being with us. If you would like to see this or any of our Fiscal TV shows, you can find them on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to let your colleagues know about us here at Fiscal TV, and from everyone here at Fiscal TV, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you in February.